In the year 2019, I got a 5,000 euro scholarship without even applying for it. Sounds interesting, right? In this video, I'm going to walk us through how that happened and what are the lessons from it. Follow me. So, in the year 2019, I just finished my master's in mathematics, and I was wondering what was the next steps. I actually wanted to even study for a PhD because I just felt like it was good. But then one of my friend in Finland, Shion, if you're watching this, thank you very much, introduced me to Free Code Camp. Free Code Camp was where it's a free website where you can learn software engineering. So I started learning software engineering, but it's somewhat that then I just find it a little bit complicated having to learn all of those syntax. Then he told me, oh, you have a mathematics background, why don't you study data science? Data science is actually very interesting. So he had also started learning online at the time, and then he went to a boot camp. So he basically was just trying to walk me through the same path he also followed. So I basically also started learning data science. I remember I started learning online using the platform DataQuest. So I would learn online, and that was quite interesting for me. So I was very interested in it. I was really passionate about it. So I would learn online. I was learning on DataQuest. DataQuest had this data science track. So I would learn online, and I would also learn on Coursera. The interesting thing about Coursera was, I was a student. I didn't have all the money in the world. Coursera would say if you sign up for this course, I think the course probably would last for 6-7 weeks, but they say the first 1 week is free. But then the fact is that when you sign up for the course, you actually have access to all of the 7 weeks of lecture. So I would dedicate like a weekend and just focus on that one course and just finish everything. There were a lot of courses that I took from Andrew Ng that I didn't even pay for because I was just really interested in it and I didn't have the money, so I basically was paying it for it with my time, and it was a very interesting process. So I started learning online. I was really diving deep into it. But one thing I found was with the way I was learning online, there was something missing. I somewhat felt like I needed the touch of other people, somewhat be able to talk to someone else who was on the journey with me. Also get like to learn from industry experts and the like. So just know what was the industry way, that I could not get online. There was just something that little part was missing, but I was really passionate about it. So one thing I would say at this point was when I started learning online as well, I was also sharing my journey. So I would write on LinkedIn, oh, I built this ML algorithm today. Oh, I joined this channel, this Kaggle challenge today. I was able to improve my accuracy, and then I get some few likes from my friends, say, oh, well job, good job, well done, and the likes. When I go back to my LinkedIn post and read all of those messages now, they felt like crap to me, but I'm going somewhere. Why I said they felt like crap was it felt like they were not matured or they were not too professional, but it was really showing the fact that I was making progress. I didn't know that at the time, but when I look back now 4 years ago, I'd be like, yeah, it was really showing the fact that I was really, really interested in data science. I was really interested in building ML models, deploying them, and I was having fun also sharing my journey, writing on LinkedIn every time I built something or I read about something that was interesting. So this my friend that was in Finland, then like still in Finland actually, told me, oh, why don't you go for a boot camp? And then told me, he's also been interested in data science, so he had basically all the info. He said, why don't you check data science retreats? So data science retreats, for those who don't know, is a boot camp in Berlin, and it's one of the best data science boot camps that I know in Germany. So he told me, why don't you go check them out, and maybe you just like them. So I went, checked online, read about the school, made an application to the school. To get into data science project, you have to do like an admissions call where they ask you questions because it was not really elementary, so you should know some things before you get into the school. Otherwise, you won't be able to catch up with the demands because you have to do classes from Mondays to Sundays, and there are things. So there's a class today, there's a class tomorrow. So if you don't know anything about data science, you are not going to be able to catch up. But then you remember if you follow the story, I was already learning online before I applied, so it was pretty easy to get in. So I got into this science retreat. At this point, got me. I got the admission, but there was a problem. the school fees was about 10,000 euros. I'm like, 10,000 euros? How do I even pay for that? So there was interesting. There was also another school in Berlin, Spice Academy. I'm saying the name of these schools because they are very very good schools. So you can also check them out. Or if you're just getting started into data science and you live in Berlin, I think they're very great schools. So I got into Spice. I got admissions into Spice. You had to do an admissions call as well to Spice Academy, and then I got it there. I got into Spice Academy as well. And for Spice Academy, they made the offer that you could pay after you get a job. So I would get a job and then I would be paying back in bit. And then that was interesting for me, and I was like, okay, I think I'm going to take this. So they asked me to write an exam for that particular scholarship, and then I wrote the exam. I passed as well. I got that, and they said, okay, so after I get my first job, I would have to be paying back the school fees at a later date. And I felt that was a good bargain, you know. So I was still learning online at the time. I was still in Hamburg. One thing that I also did was, because I felt like it was a lot of money, I really wanted to know what I was going to spend my money on. So I told the schools, can I come to visit one of the classes to just experience how it looks like? And why I wanted to do that was, like I said at the beginning, I wanted to be sure that what I felt was missing from the online classes was what I was really going to get by signing up to these bootcamps. So I decided to go to the class. I traveled down from Hamburg. I remember I was on a bus and very early in the morning. I went first of all to Spice Academy. I sat down in the class. It was like for 1 hour, and then later I left. Afterwards, I went to DSR, which is Data Science Retreat. I met the director. There was no class at Data Science Retreat that day, but I spoke with the director. So you could really see from everything I was trying to do, I was really, really interested. I was really, really passionate for learning. I just wanted to get into this field. And of course, you know, I had a mathematics background, so I feel like maybe that gave me like a little bit of edge over every other person. So I remember speaking to the director, and I was like, this money is really a lot of money. I don't think I can raise it. But then he said, yeah, that's it. So I was really trying to say, okay, I think I'm going to go for Spice Academy, because I mean, they can allow me to pay after I get a job. So randomly, but then I was still learning online, and then I post. Randomly, I just got an email. I think I'm going to add a screenshot of the email to this video somewhere. And then the email goes like, oh, I've been seeing your post. This was from the director of Data Science Retreat at the time, and then he said, oh, I've been seeing your posts on LinkedIn, and I really do like them. I see that you're growing. I think if you're this passionate and you're learning yourself, if you come to Data Science Retreat Berlin, you're gonna fly. And he said, okay, because of that, I'm gonna give you a 50% scholarship. I was stunned. That was like 5,000 euros of scholarship that I never applied for. I never talked to anybody about. I never wrote any exam for. And then I had to actually pick up my phone and call the director and said, are you really sure about this? Are you really sure? He said, yes, I'm very sure. I think you're very passionate and you're very interested in this. And then I think you're going to do very well. I said, don't worry, don't call me, just call the admissions manager, and then he's going to sort everything out with you. Don't call me, don't worry. And then that was how I managed to raise 5,000 euros, and then I went to do the science retreat. So I basically got the 5,000 euros scholarship literally out of the blues. Looking back now, 4 years back, one thing I also want to add to the story that really showed the fact that I was really interested in getting into the data science bootcamp was, at the time, at the beginning, I found it, I couldn't get into, I found Data Science Retreat website. I saw all of the schools, but I was sending them emails for admissions, but nobody was replying. So I started tracking everybody that I felt like was connected to Data Science Retreat on LinkedIn. And then I found this guy was the dean. Then I sent him an email. I sent him a message, oh, I'm trying to get into the science retreat, but you're not replying to my emails. You know how I can contact anybody there? And then he contacted the director for me on phone, and then they linked me up with the director and said, oh, sorry, we've not been able to get your email back, our email back to you. It's been a challenge. But I think all of that then added up to the fact that I was also writing online. Adding that up to the fact that I was also writing online at the time made him very impressed. Now, looking back 4 years back, when I go back to the post and to the email, what are the lessons from this? And I'm going to share just 2 things that comes to my mind that I think is very, very applicable to anything you're trying to do, or data science, if you're trying to get into data science or data analytics, it's the fact that, number one, learn in public. I know that people say that, and maybe someone has already told you, you're watching this video, and somebody already told you that you should learn in public. See this as another confirmation. I think that learning in public sort of gives you access to a community, a free community of help. So you basically put yourself out there and you're showing people, this is what I am doing by myself. And people, it might look like people are not following, it might look like people are not interested. But then you would actually find out that you register consciously or unconsciously in people's minds. So when there's something that has to do with that area of specialization or something that they can help you with, they find it very easy to help you with. I remember taking a data engineering course last year, I think it was last year, and one of the things to do to get points in that course was to actually share your learnings and your assignment on either LinkedIn or Twitter every week, and then there was a particular hashtag, and then you see that actually that puts you out there, it puts you in people's faces. So I would advise, if you're trying to get into data science, or you're trying to learn data analytics or data engineering, learn in public, put yourself out there, let people see you. You might feel like, oh, maybe my posts are not worthwhile or they are not good enough, but as crap as they are, people read them and people see it. And it also helps you to keep like a bank, a way to actually see your progress over time, like to see your journey over time. So I would advise learn in public. The second thing I would say is you need to be passionate, and I think this is a little bit more specific to if you're learning anything that has to do with writing code, data science, data analytics, because I think over time, if you learn, you're gonna be frustrated. Things will not run. You're not going to understand stuff. You are not going to you're going to have problems. Your codes will not run and stuff like that, and you must sort of find something in you that doesn't make you to give up. You have to be passionate and let people also see that you're passionate. And I think that the cosmos, the atmosphere, has a way of sort of, when you stay at a point and you're like, it's either get it done or I have this funny saying, get it done or die trying. Like, I'm not saying you should die trying, but get it done, get it done. It seems like the atmosphere sort of agrees with you to bring that into reality. So be passionate. I see a lot of people write me sometimes and say, oh, I want to get into data science. Then I send them this, maybe I send them Data Quest or Data Camp and say, why don't you follow this track? And then I see that they cannot just sit down and actually just follow the track. Either they just drop out of the way or they just lose interest. And I think that you need to be steadfast in your interest to actually get things done. So if you're trying to build a career, you're trying to get into a new field, you're trying to transition into a new field, you need to be passionate. You need to be dogged about it. You need to be dogged in your learning. You're not going to understand stuff. It is that being passionate that then brings other people to then come into your journey and try to support you as much as possible. But first of all, you need to be very passionate. You need to be very interested. I just thought to share this very interesting story. I hope this helped someone, and I wish you all the best if you're trying to get into data science or get into data analytics. DSR doesn't run this scholarship. I think I was just a lucky one. But anyways, if you need tips and you need how to get started in data science, you can write me a direct message, and I'll be on LinkedIn, and I'm very, very happy to help you. You'll find my LinkedIn profile link in this video. Thank you very much for listening, and please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.